So another really cool feature that the media tab has is the ability to create annotations on top of our footage. Annotations are basically like markers, except a lot more advanced. We can create markers at certain points of our clips and leave text, but also draw on our actual image and create things like arrows and shapes and things like that. Now, in my own workflow, using annotations has been very useful for two specific reasons. One of which is to record ideas that I might have in the process of going through my footage. So if I come across a clip that I think might work with another clip, or I want to test something to see if it'll work for a certain transition, I can create an annotation for that certain clip at a specific point on that clip and draw out my idea on the clip itself, and also add some written details as well. This can also be very useful for when you're sharing projects with other editors. Leaving your thoughts and ideas in markers, not just in written form, but also visually on top of the clip itself, can be a very useful and powerful way to communicate ideas between different editors. So with that being said, let's jump into the media tab. I'll show you how it's done. Okay, so I have a clip selected in my media pool down here. And if I go up to my preview window here, in the bottom left, I'm able to select annotations. Now this gives me the ability to now draw on my image because I have this tool selected right here. This is the stroke tool. And then next to it, you can see that we have an arrow, a line, a rectangle, and we're also able to change the color over here. So let's say at this stage, I had an idea of something that I want to do. Maybe I wanted to introduce this character and track his name to his head. So what I could do is maybe draw like a line out here and something like that, just to visually give an example of what I'm thinking. And we can see that in our little timeline here, a marker has been created. It's this little blue thing right here. If we double click on that, we are able to give it a name. So we could change the name to label skateboarder. And we can add notes. So this notes section is really useful because, if you have an elaborate idea, you can write the entire thing here. And later on, when you hand over the project file to someone else, or, for your future self, you can come back to this marker at any point and just double click on it and view the notes in here. We're also able to change the duration of the markers. So if we wanted to play out longer on our timeline, we can do that here. We can create keywords, and we can also change the color of the marker. We also have the ability to remove the marker in here too. Now we could press done. One little quick tip for you guys is if you hold Option or Alt down on your keyboard and click and drag on your marker, you're able to change the duration of that marker in that way as well. So it would cover a larger section of your timeline. Now we can see that that red line that we created is showing up for the span of the marker. So maybe we only want it to show up like that much. And now, in this marker, we can write out animated motion graphic label to show skateboarder's name, something like that. We can click done. Now we can also add things like arrows. If we click this arrow tool, we can draw arrows. This can be very useful to just create arrows instantly instead of having to draw them out. And of course, we got the line tool as well. And we got the square tool as well. And we could change the color over here. Make it any color that we would like. Now, obviously in this situation, this doesn't really make sense, but I'm just showing you guys as an example. This is honestly a really powerful tool that I wish I had earlier on in the other programs that I was editing in. I definitely use this a lot now, and it's a great way to just communicate the idea that you're having to your future self or to other video editors in a non-destructive way, because you're not actually doing anything to your clip. It's just a marker that sits on top of your clip. And at any time, you can simply double click on the marker and click remove marker. Now, one last thing I want to mention is that we can see whenever I create these annotations on my clip over here, new markers in the timeline are being made. But we can also see that the clip in the media pool now has this little arrow next to it. If we click on that arrow, it's going to show the markers that were created for that clip. This is very useful because we can simply just click on the marker here and it'll jump to that point in that timeline. So marker 1, marker 2. So this is really awesome because I can go up to the annotation marker up here and change the name to something else. So let's say I wanted to communicate something to another editor. Let's say add VFX here. Now we can see that that marker or annotation underneath the clip, it shows what I'm trying to communicate right away. So myself or another editor can click that drop down. They can see what it is that I'm trying to communicate here and just double click to access that part of the timeline right away. This is really awesome because it makes it a lot more efficient to direct the other person to the exact place that you were trying to bring them and communicate the information right away. And the last thing to note is that these markers translate on every single other tab in DaVinci as well. So if we go into the edit tab here and we check our media pool, we also have this same drop down here. So we're able to view those annotations on our clip as well. And if we drag our clip down into our timeline, the same thing happens here too. We can see that those annotations or markers are on our clip, and we're able to view what we created with annotations in our timeline as well. And just like before, if at any moment we no longer need any of these annotations, we can simply just select them and hit delete. So that's annotations. If you're not already using them in your workflow, I highly recommend that you do so because it is a great way to write down your ideas and just to communicate to yourself and to other people overall. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one.